Hi, and thanks for joining us here at Rose Quartz Mediumship for this October 2024 energy update. As we head into the month of October, we can expect to see a thinning of the veil, which means that the space between the earthly plane or the earthly realm and the spiritual realm becomes smaller. And that means that we have easier contact and ability to be in contact, receive messages, receive communication, receive contact in lots of various different forms with spirit, whether we're talking about an individual spirit or spirit in general. And so I just want to take a minute and talk a little bit about things that you can expect in the month of October and give a little bit of warning or offer some insight into some options to make sure that you're staying really safe during this time. So the first thing that I want to say is that this is a really exciting time of year. So between the fall equinox, which is also sometimes called Mabon, and Halloween, which the pagan word for that is Samhain. So between the fall equinox and Samhain, we see the thinning of the veil. And it progresses as we get closer to Samhain or Halloween. You will also notice around the full moon, you are going to see an increase in that thinning of the veil. So again, spirit communication becomes very accessible for the majority of us, and we might have larger metaphysically based experiences or spirit-based experiences than we may otherwise experience. And so this can be a really exciting time of year. And for some people, it can feel overwhelming. And so I just want to offer a couple things. One, remember that you as the human have control. So if you are not liking the spirit engagement that you are getting, you can set boundaries around that. You can say, I do not want to communicate with insert a specific spirit, or you can say, I don't want to communicate with spirit in general. For me, one of the things that always feels good is to say, I only want to engage with energy that is at or above my vibration level. And what that means is that you're not going to be engaging with any sort of low frequency or low vibration energy. And that is a really safe way of making sure that the spirits who are coming through or the energy that is coming through is either at or above your vibration level. So it's either something that matches or something above. And that can feel really safe for a lot of people. So that's number one suggestion. Number two suggestion is to make sure that you are having an opening and closing process to all of your spirit communication, whether that be in dream state or whether that be in wake state. So if you're communicating with spirit in wake state, it becomes really easy to have an opening and closing process. Your opening and closing process can be as elaborate as you like or as simple as you like. There is no right or wrong answer there. So for some people, it involves lighting a candle as the opening process, saying, I am open to any frequency that is at or above my vibration level, and then allowing that energy to come through. When the spirit communication is done, then saying, I am now closed to all spirit communication, which means that you're not going to be kind of bombarded by energy trying to come through. If in the month of October, you're getting a lot of spirit communication in times that feels maybe less than convenient, maybe it's happening at moments that aren't as convenient for you, carve out time and say to spirit and spirits that I'm going to be available on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. That's when I'm going to have an opening where I can communicate. That is a respectful way of saying, hey, I hear you, I acknowledge that you're here and that you want to engage with me, and I want to engage with you too, but I need it to work for my life. And carving out that time during your week as you move through the month of October can be really helpful and make you feel like this is a more manageable thing for you. If it can feel like you're being bombarded or that this is happening in a way that doesn't feel good for you. If you are communicating in dream state, again, before you go to sleep every single night, you can say, I only want to engage with energy that is at or above my vibration level. Other things that you can do is make sure that you are working with some sort of doorkeeper in the spirit realm. A doorkeeper is purely one of your spirit guides who really kind of works like a bouncer at a bar, where they allow in specific energies and don't allow in other energies. If you have an existing relationship with a doorkeeper who's part of your spirit guide team, then it becomes really easy to work with that spirit guide, that doorkeeper, and say, hey, I really want to make sure that I'm not getting woken up in the middle of the night. Or I do not want to be interrupted during my work hours, so on and so forth. So you can set boundaries. Remember that this is a reciprocal relationship. And so you can set boundaries just like spirit can set boundaries. You can make sure to have things like grounding stones or sage, things that feel protective to you. So whether that be, you're lighting a candle, you're having some obsidian or some other form of grounding stone in the space that you are doing work. You can also incorporate some rose quartz. That's a very heart-centered, love-based frequency that can be really delicious during spirit communication. But bringing in some stones that support you in grounding is really, really beneficial. And then doing things like cleansing and clearing your space regularly in the month of October, whether that be sage or juniper or palo santo or incense. There are so many different ways to cleanse and clear space. You can use moon water. You can use all of the different forms of smoke cleansing and clearing. You can choose to use something like Florida water. There are lots and lots of ways to cleanse and clear. If you have questions, reach out. I'm super happy to talk about cleansing and clearing you or cleansing and clearing your space. But that can be something that feels really supportive and beneficial as we move through the month of October, when we are getting a lot more spirit communication. And then be really mindful of what you are doing in specific spaces. So if you do not want to get woken up in the middle of the night, then don't put activating stones in your bedroom, right? So we're going to only put grounding stones in our bedroom if we're not looking for spirit communication at night. Now, if we're looking to do dream state work with spirit, then bringing some activating stones into our bedroom at night would be beneficial. So really be intentional with the way that you are working with crystals, gems, or stones during the month of October, as always, but in particular in the month of October. And then another suggestion is to make sure that you are carving out enough time to ground, right? So I always give the analogy of a tree. If you are looking to promote spirit communication here in the month of October, when the veil is so thin, make sure that you are grounded, right? So if you think about a tree, the larger the root system of that tree, the larger the canopy can be. Otherwise, the tree is unstable. So the more grounded you are, the more grounding activities that you do during the month of October, the easier it's going to be for you to connect and engage with spirit in a meaningful manner. Spirit can still come through even if we're really ungrounded, but we might not have the quality or quantity of engagement that we want. And so really being mindful to ground if you are looking to promote spirit communication in the month of October. Make sure that you have an on-point grounding practice as part of your psychic hygiene practice. And then this is something that I just want to kind of give as a warning. When the veil is very thin, like we see in the month of October, we are all at really high risk for accessing our subconscious or being in our subconscious when we might otherwise not be. So I'm going to give you an example. If you are driving in the month of October, and maybe you're driving on a route that you know incredibly well, you know the route, and so it's not taking a lot of your mind, your conscious mind, to say, oh, where's the next turn? I got to make sure that I don't miss this sign or this entrance or this exit, so on and so forth. If it's a route that you know, it is really easy for you to kind of slip into a meditative state or a subconscious accessing your subconscious. And that's where we access spirit, right? So if you're driving in your car and it increases the availability of getting into that meditative state, of getting into that subconscious state, We don't want to see that in the month of October, right? If the veil is really thin and it really kind of promotes that meditative state for us, it becomes really easy for us to access the meditative state, to access our subconscious. This is a great time to do wound healing, trauma healing, by the way, because it's so easily accessible to us in our subconscious. But in the month of October, when that veil is really thin, we are going to see an easier time slipping into that meditative state. Now, if we're driving, that's not particularly safe. And so making sure that you have grounding tools in place so that you're not driving along and daydreaming. You're not driving along engaging with spirit. You want to make sure that you've got grounding essential oils on your body when you're getting into a car, especially if you're going for a long car ride on a route that you know, or if you know that you're somebody who's really sensitive and is easy to slip into that meditative state. Be safe. Be safe. Have grounding stones that you stick into your bra. Booby rocks are great. Stick them into your bra, stick them into your pockets. Have a rock that you have on your physical body while you're driving that helps to ground you and keep you in your physical body. Roll your window down, okay? The element of air is really beautiful. It helps us to release, but it also brings us into our body. It brings us into a grounded state. And so just simply rolling down your window can help to make sure that you're staying in your body and not slipping into your subconscious, into that meditative state, which can be so beautiful, but not necessarily safe when we're driving. And so I always really like to just caution people in the month of October, especially if you are somebody who easily slips into a meditative state, be careful while driving. Driving is something that for many people promotes a meditative state anyways. And while the veil is thin, that can feel really overwhelming for a lot of people. Like every time I get into the car, I'm really spacey and it doesn't feel safe to me. So just make sure that you're grounding. Use some grounding essential oils, frankincense, all of your earthy smells. So pine and cedar wood, those are all great options. You can make little rollers, just roll them on your body when you get into the car. Again, grounding stones, roll your window down, drink water, really get into your body before you get into your car. So if I just come out of meditation and then I hop into my car and I'm going to drive for an hour, I'm probably going to slip back into meditation. Whereas if I have gone for a walk and I'm really in my body, I'm probably going to have a very different experience with being in body when I get into the car. I'm not going to slip into the meditative state as easily. So I always just like to throw that out there as an option for people to make sure that they're grounded. If you notice that you're struggling with that in the month of October, there are things that you can do that will support you in staying grounded and staying in your body rather than slipping into your unconscious, your subconscious, or a meditative state. If you are new to metaphysics and you are looking for more information, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to get you some content so that you can feel safe, so that you can feel connected here as we move through the month of October. It is a really, really beautiful time to connect with our loved ones who are on the other side of the veil, or purely to get clarification from spirit, direction, support, love, to be offered a different lens to look through from a very zoomed out view. All of those things are so supportive and beneficial for us. And there's some really beautiful things that can happen in the month of October with the veil being thin. And so if the month of October is feeling overwhelming for you, please let us know. We'd love to get you some resources that can support you. And if you have any questions, if there are questions about how to promote additional spirit communication, please let us know that as well. I hope that you have a beautiful month of October, and I hope that you just take a moment and remember that nature reminds us how beautiful it is to let go and to release. As we watch the leaves turn here in New England, as we enter the fall and we get to watch these beautiful display of colors in the leaves, and then we watch nature gracefully and gently let go. And that allows the trees to bring their energy back into the core of them. And I think that there is so much beauty and wisdom that nature offers us in the fall around how to gracefully and beautifully let go of things that don't support us and serve us as we move into the next chapter of our lives. I hope that you have a beautiful morning, day, evening, or night, and I really appreciate you being here with us at Rose Quartz Mediumship.